Welcome to the show. It should be a fun one today. Got Ryan Greenspan here on the show today to discuss the big event going down in Europe. It's going to be held in Dreux, France, and this should be a fun conversation. Obviously, a lot of people that are tuning in probably very familiar with the scene here in the States, but Ryan has been going over there for years. He's the captain of the veteran squad, Team USA. So we got the Nations Cup going down on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to discuss that. Team USA defending, I think, in every single category. They had a great 2024, but hard on their heels, a couple other squads. This is what we're going to discuss. And then going to discuss the actual, NXL Europe and who's looking good over there. Who's looking good is Joy Division. Joy Division sitting at first place right now. I played for Joy Division years ago, so I do have a soft spot in my heart for the Swedes. And they got Harrison Fry on that squad. So Ryan and I are going to chop it up and talk about some of the story points and storylines and some of the these teams to watch, because this will be available on Major League Paintball Plus. So MLPB Plus, that's plus spelled out, not plus with the sign.com, or on YouTube as well too. So without any further ado, and it's also going to be free. So going to be able to get a chance to check out. And again, super compelling stories. And the paintball over there is every year it improves. And there's some, again, great storylines and teams we could see at World Cup. That's essentially what they're playing for over in NXL Europe, in Major League Paintball over there, to so we can see who are we going to see. The Tauntauns are already here. We've seen the Tauntauns. Lucky it's going to be Lucky 15s. We see Joy Division. We've seen them before. So yeah, this should be a good one. So without any further ado, let's bring on Ryan Greenspan and chalk it up a little bit here. So how you doing, bud? I know you're about to head on a plane again and head overseas yet again for probably I don't even know how many trips. Let's just ballpark it. How many trips to Europe is this for you?
That's so funny. I mean, for like a good 5 years, I would say we were doing 5 events over there, 5 events over there, or 4 events over there. So that was 20 trips right then and there. I want to say my first trip to Europe, I think I saw you out there, was with Alex in 2000. So we're 25 years later. Now I haven't gone out there every single year since then, but I've had multiple like back to back trips. So let's call it 50. Let's call it like 50 trips to Europe.
Hey, the blessings of paintball, the gifts of the game, man. If you get, ladies and gentlemen, if you get really good at paintball, someday, some way, people might, at least pay for your trip, pay you maybe even to go and have a European adventure. But yeah, so that to me, that's the scene over there is cool, man. Met so many cool Europeans throughout the years, and my adventures playing over there, which is why I have a soft spot in my heart for Joy Division, because I did play with them in 2000. And we went over there with Ironman and Excessive. So it's just really cool. So let's jump into it, because I know you're a busy man. You got a lot to do. Field just opened up here, Giant San Diego. Be out there tomorrow.
Yep.
And not sure when this is going to air, but yeah, and you're headed out there as well too. So I don't have you for long, and want to get your thoughts on a few things. So let's jump in and start talking about the Nations Cup. You're the captain of the veteran squad, and you guys are defending champs, I think, in every category, right? And you've been an instrumental part of Team USA for years. So let's talk about Team USA, and let's talk about the Nations Cup. If people tune in to watch that, what should they expect? It's a pretty cool thing that doesn't happen very often. This is the once in a year thing, and there's a ton of different countries. Mm-hmm. It's like our Olympics. It's like the paintball Olympics, other than World Cup. But this has much more, so many different countries are represented here, because at World Cup, you're only going to see the best of the best. So what is everyone going to see?
Yeah, that's a great little setup there, Matty. First of all, you've got, like you said, the best players from around the world all converging on the events. Now, we say that for, the NXL World Cup is obviously like the big World Cup, but this one is actually each nation putting in their best talent. And it's cool because they have an under 16s division. They've got an under 19. They've got the men's pro, the women's pro, and then the men's veterans, and which is over 40. Last year was a clean sweep across from 16 through 19. Women's, men's, and veterans all won. And actually every game, I think the kids whomped on everybody. I think so did the women. But both the men's and the veterans finals came down to 1-point matches. So the talent level, and we talked about this on the Spick and Span show the other day, the talent level out in Europe is like exponentially getting better. Those guys are really good, and especially under the circumstances, Matty, because we do 2 pod limits. And so you're getting a lot more of these kind of, you can't sit there and just hold lanes the whole time. You got to like be tenacious and gunfight and have really, really crispy shots off the break. So, and these guys also have been practicing the layout for the last 4 weeks, and usually together. You know, the kids team, the U19s and the U16s are practicing quite a bit together. The vets guys have kind of been playing a little bit here and there, and same with the pro men. And but like we're going in there and we're getting one practice for an hour together. And no, it's definitely worth waking up early to make sure you watch the live feed. And I think Major League Paintball is going to be having that on the YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can watch it on Major League MLPBplus.com, and then also on YouTube as well, again, for free. And yeah, just a little comment on the time. Yeah, so I, because dude, and then I want to get into the competition because you had mentioned how it was 1-point games. So I was tuning in to watch your guys' final, and I was just biting my nails. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know, I'm definitely will show my bias here. Family's been in the United States since the Mayflower, so I'm, like go USA. And I was, again, respect to everyone else, but yeah, man, we're having a Nations Cup. I want you guys to win, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Thank you for letting me know that
you're together.
You're going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like when I'm watching.
I appreciate your support, man.
What are you? Oh my God, why are you swinging at that? It's like, guys, can we not stop dying out of your spots? I'm getting shot at the break. Hold on. So we'll get into the competition in a second, but just for everyone out there, if you live on the West Coast, add 9 hours. That's Paris time. And if you live on the East Coast, add 6 hours. So that's the easy way to kind of look at it. So just add 9 hours if Ryan and I we're in California. If you're living on the East Coast, add 6, and then you guys can do some simple math if you're trying to if you're happen to be in Central or Mountain. But that's just so let's talk about the competition because it is pretty fun. Limited paint is always something that I've been a bit of a fan of because as a paintball purist, when you do have limited paint, what it does is it adds a little bit more athleticism to the game because, like you said, you can't just sit there and hold lanes. So to me, it's a slightly more entertaining brand of paintball when we do have limited paint and guys can't just sit there with 10 pods and pump 5 of them through a gap to keep you from getting in the snake. That is not an option with you when you have limited paint. And then Ryan, so speaking of the competition, who do you think is going to be your guys' greatest rivals? Who has it been historically? I also was looking at the list. Doesn't look like Russia has put a team in or were allowed to put a team in. I don't know the situation there, but some also, France has always been great. I just, what are you thinking? I'm looking kind of at the, at least the Open X Ball, not the veterans, but there's 18 different countries represented here. So we got USA, Great Britain, Belgium, Germany, Poland, France, Mexico, Norway, Finland. Wonder if Miko's playing. I know he's in Finland. Miko Hutanen.
I think Miko is playing.
Brazil, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Switzerland, Venezuela, South Africa, Luxembourg, and Canada. So who do you think are going to be your biggest rivals, seeing as you guys are the defending champs?
So as far as rivalries go, I think it's easily has to be France and Great Britain. Those guys are all really good players. Great Britain took it off of us 2 years ago. We were able to win it from them in the last year. France is always really, really tough to play because they've got those scrappy guys. Obviously, Axel is out there, and they've just got a great team and great chemistry together. And the Great Britain guys all play on the Lucky 15s as well. So again, chemistry is a big factor there. They're practicing to play the layout for the last 4 weeks, and so they're just gonna scoot that mindset and mentality right over into the Nations Cup. Not to mention, I think Norway has given us a little bit of a run for our money in the past. They had a really good year a couple years ago. And then the addition of Canada. So Canada isn't usually represented over there, but I think they're going to have a pretty decent team. I'm not sure if they've been able to practice together. And then also you got Arturo and Xavi on Team Mexico. And those dudes looked really good last year. And I think it came down to like a semifinals match where they got a couple penalties here and there that like made it so we weren't going to play them, So rivalries, definitely France and definitely Great Britain. Teams to look out for, the rest that I said, Canada, Mexico. I mean, everybody's good, man. It's not that easy. It's not a walk in the park like everybody thinks. Like, hey, we got a bunch of pros from the US. That's like this interesting mentality and mindset and thought that a lot of people have is like, oh, these guys are playing pro in the NXL. It's like, yeah, a lot of the guys over in Europe probably could too if someone flew them over or they could afford to come. Case in point, look at the Tauntauns.
Yeah, I mean, the Tauntauns are doing outstanding, and that kind of speaks to your point about how European paintball has gotten better over the years. They've always been competitive, but, you know, with Legion coming over and just dedicating themselves to the NXL for years, and obviously they've been legendary. And then it is cool to see the Tauntauns who, you know, kind of dipping their toes in the water with either bringing specific players over throughout the years to bulk out rosters for other teams, now coming over and playing as the Tauntauns, and 2 second places in a row. I was just looking at the roster for Canada. It's essentially the Royal City Sea Dogs with Cody Chong from Aftermath. So that's a pretty stout roster. That will none of the Yakimex on that squad, but I mean, the Sea Dogs, you know, making their first Sunday in the NXL, so can't take them lightly. And then with how well I mean, Great Britain doesn't have the roster up yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be a steady dose of all the badass dudes on Lucky 15s, which when we get into the conversation about the actual, like, who do we think we're going to see at Cup based on who's been playing well at the 2 first events and heading into this third last one. So, I mean, is there a team that, you know, again, rivalries, I mean, I mean, I know you're an old salt at this, so you kind of look, it's like, yeah, dude, it's 5 guys with guns, you know, we'll see who's good this year or whatever. But I mean, in your heart of hearts, is there a team you hope to face in the finals based on what's happened in the past?
Well, I mean, hopefully I face the easiest team there that kind of tripped, stumbled, and fell into the thing, and it's just a cakewalk, and we're going to go hoist the trophy. That's what I think every time. That's who I want to meet. Who do you guys who are watching this want us to meet? It's for sure Great Britain. You know, it would be cool to meet Mexico, right? Because playing against Arturo would be fun. Arturo and Chavez, that's a cool story as well, especially because, you know, I love seeing teams outside of Europe attend these events because essentially they're really bootstrapped. You know, there isn't a ton of funding outside of the US. Even in Europe, there's not a ton of funding either, but at least they're kind of just hopping on a plane, train, or driving over relatively quickly to Paris. Whereas Team USA, like the organization to get out there, and what the Team USA organization and what Anthony and Lori and John Rathburn and Julie have done with that organization to be able to fund it enough to help support everything and everybody to get over there. Obviously everybody's on their own for the expenses, but for, you know, the paint and a lot of the stuff is covered. So I love seeing like how Arturo scrapped together a team to be able to like get everybody over there. And it's just, there's a lot that, like, in the Team Brazil too, it's like, there's a lot that goes into getting out there. It's not easy. So I would love to see one of those other travel teams, Team Canada, Mexico. I'd love to meet one of those guys in the finals just to show that there's, outside of the US powerhouse and outside of Europe, there's other talented groups of players out there. I'm always rooting for those underdog stories. And then hopefully Team USA just beats the hell out of them at the end.
Well, looking at some of these other teams that you guys might have to contend with, Norway is essentially Ronholt Blast. Where
are we getting these rosters,
omission here? Just off of pbleagues.com. So feel free, anyone that has a PB League account, to go on and kind of do a little recon ahead of time. But an interesting omission here, Ryan, is that no Team Sweden in the Open X Ball. With how good Joy Division is this year, that's perplexing.
Well, it's actually not. It's because, well, no, the reason they're not playing is because Harrison Fry isn't actually Swedish. So he's not going to be playing with them. Therefore, they don't have as good of a chance. I feel like
I love Harrison Fry.
I feel like teams that rely on their
dudes a point, bro.
He's not, but just having him on the field, and I think that also plays a lot into why some of the European teams did not come, that were eligible to come to World Cup, is because obviously their pro wasn't going to be playing with them, you know? And so it's just kind of like an expensive journey to come out here, but it's like, well, the stud on our team isn't going to be here. So what's the point? It's going to be a waste of money. So I don't know why the Joy guys aren't going to be there. Again, it's a great practice opportunity also. If I were a team competing in the event, I would put a team into this because you get to practice the layout.
Well, before we kind of move on and talk about the the top seeds here and who we could potentially see at World Cup, who's going to be the European champs, again, it is Joy Division in first place. But since you've done this before, I've done this before, and guys like Joe Barrett, Harrison Fry, we just were talking to him about it, or talking about him about this. But if you're a young American player and you have dreams to go pro one day, if you can get good enough or you have the funds, whatever it may be, however it shakes out, there's different ways to do it. And it's not just in Europe. You could do it in, down in Mexico at the NXL, go to Asia, South America. There are these, different places that if you're a really good up and coming American, project or prospect, and you can get on one of those teams, somewhere around the world, it kind of hyper drives and tears up your skill, your experience. Obviously, you're playing a lot of paintball, but when you are kind of, especially if they're paying for you to come in, especially if they're paying you, which is rarer than paying for you to come. But even if you just go, even if you have to pay for yourself to go, you're kind of looked at as the dude that's supposed to be shooting multiple bodies per point, a guy that's supposed to be helping come up with game plans. It forces you to be in a leadership role. And we've seen the Joe Barretts and the Harrison Fries and different guys throughout the years, really whatever potential they have, they get to it quicker by going on these adventures. Talk to me a little bit about that, because, I know that you've been that guy for European teams before. So just talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a lot of times, and I just want to just preface this by saying, because you kind of alluded to it in the beginning, but if you're an up and coming player, semi-pro, even D2 player or pro player, obviously, who is looking to kind of expand outside and you want to really take this seriously, you got to scrap. You got to do anything you can, again, bootstrap it, to get contact teams and just be like, hey, I'll come out there if I can stay with you guys and I'll play for free, kind of thing. Harrison Fry literally wrote the book on this, I think, or at least perfected the book on this, because Harrison literally just was everywhere he could possibly be, gathering as much data as possible on how to play, how to help, how to do everything. And I think that he, obviously we've done all this too in the past, but I've watched him kind of grow from that Grom in the beginning, kind of annoying, to like, now he's the guy on the team. Now, with that comes a lot of pressure as well. So when you do go over there, you want to make be as valuable as possible. So, make sure you're worth it. And by doing that, you want to give as much input as you possibly can. And you got to be confident about it, right? You can't kind of beat around the bush and be like, oh, I don't know. And you got to really come out of your shell. And like you said, it really does fast track players' ability to succeed and excel in their lives in general, outside of this little microcosm, right? Because when you go back to your field or your local field or your team, you're able to bring a lot more knowledge back, because a lot of times you're just you could be the number one guy, or you could be the 2 guy, or you could be the 3 guy, whatever position you want to put it on yourself. But when you go over there, you're gonna have to play all these positions, but you're also going to be in the leadership role as well. So it really teaches you a lot. I saw Brandon Short also back in the day, he was always the number one in the snake. And then when he went to Europe, he started to begin to be that number 2 player and that support role who could go up front as well when needed. But what it did is it really expanded his horizons and allowed him to really see the field. And that in turn lets you gather more knowledge, right?
Absolutely. No, I look, and we understand, like, people are thinking like these dudes are crazy, man. Like, it's expensive to go to Europe. Of course, lots of stuff's expensive. That's welcome to the world. Whatever you want in life is before you get really good at and acquire the skills to actually get, have people paying for your flights or even to get paid, you have to go into the deep water and try to do it yourself. So if you're on a top level, and I would just say too, if you're a really good divisional player, there's, if you're talking about Europe, and also, again, the flights to Mexico are a little cheaper, but especially a little on the East Coast and you can afford it, maybe got some miles or something, just hit up one of these teams. There's 22 semi-pro teams in Europe. There's 20 pro teams. If you're a stud playing in semi-pro or in one of the top divisional teams in the NXL, those teams could probably use you. Be friendly, reach out. Closed mouths don't get fed. So be outgoing. Hit people up, and if you hit up a decent amount of teams, maybe they'll be like, if you're like, hey, 10th ranked semi-pro team and you're ranked D2 in in the NXL, but you're pretty solid. Your team's been doing really well, and you're carrying a lot of the weight on field, and you feel like, yeah, and you're a young dude, early 20s, whatever, older guy, maybe you're established and you got some money. Hit up these teams. If you would have 10 of them and be like, hey man, I'll come, I'll pay for myself to come over, you guys need any help, maybe they say yes. You go over there, you make a lot of friends, and then and this is one of the coolest things about the adventure, is that you get to go over there and be a traveler and not a tourist. Like, sure, you can go to do tourist stuff, you can go see the cathedrals maybe on your day off or whatever, you go a couple days early, bring your lady, whatever, but you're hanging out with a bunch of dudes from a different culture, a different country, and it's just an amazing experience. So be bold, shoot your shot,
it really
and
is.
Who knows, because then if you go over there and you're slaughtering everybody, then you're going to get noticed. So I mean, that's how this works. So that's the blueprint for this.
That's the blueprint.
And then so Ryan, before we move on, how do people get involved if you are in the United States and you're an up and coming player? How do you get involved with Team or whatever? Just take me from veterans, or just talk about the organization. How do you get involved with Team USA?
Yeah, great question, Matty. And so I'll start from the top, right, from the veteran side. More and more players are obviously becoming eligible after every turn of the year, right? I mean, this is my fourth or fifth year with the veterans, I believe. But as long as you're over 40, like, hit us up. It was funny. I was just up at SC Village playing with the Collision guys, and David Ramirez is like, how do I get on that team, man? I'm like, well, are you over 40? He's like, yeah, I'm 41. I'm like, you just got to let us know, I guess. Just let somebody know. Like, I just didn't know. You can hit up myself and Mark Johnson. I know they say that I'm the captain of the team. I think it was just kind of passed along to me, but everybody there is an adult, obviously. And Mark Johnson and Todd Adamson do the lion's share of everything. Mark, I joined the team because Mark reached out to me way back when. And I'm grateful for that. Like, he is gung ho on it, and he's got such a great attitude with it. Him and BJ go. Then we got Thomas Taylor, we got Todd Adamson, and LB Fowles on the team now this year. We've got a bunch of new players, Greg and Corey Fields back, and so basically what it ends up happening is someone reaches out to myself or to one of the players that were on the team the year prior and just says, hey, I'm eligible for it. Like, what do you guys think? Throw their hat in the ring, right? Then it's kind of like, what position do we need to fill? And you're on the team. For the pro side, Marcelo is the coach, and Marcelo kind of handles a lot of that. And just it's a combination of who's already out there and then who can get there. Yeah. We definitely try our best to get new blood in there. So like Connor Kelly, for example, is new. He's going to be on the team. Joe Barrett's also new. We want to make sure that there's a new, fresh bit of talent. Tyler came last year. There's a handful of guys that get plugged into the system, and based on whether or not they've been there, right? And I think that's a big one. And Anthony Vitale and Lori also, they run the entire Team USA program with the help of myself, Julie Roberts, and John Rathburn. And John helps with the coordinating sponsorship, so him and GI make sure that they support all the players while they're practicing and whatnot. So the biggest one is how to get onto the U19 and the U16 squads. Those are the coveted positions, and those are actually like talent based and driven. And this is cool. I think this is the coolest part of the program. So we have a combine every year, a national combine. I came up with a series of drills, of individual drills, where you're graded on specific metrics, right? And it encompasses all parts of the game, from the snake to breakout shooting, snap shooting, and all that. And you're graded on every single one of these things. You're given all the entire curriculum, so you get to practice it during the off season. And then you show up to, it was in Texas this year. There were about 100 players, and about 60 of them, I think, were U19 and U16 eligible, right? So we've got a huge camp of youth that are going up and growing up through this system. And a handful of them have been back year after year after year, because you have to qualify every year. There are players who have been on the USA, like Evan Middleton, who is a stud team captain of U16. He comes out to these still, even though we know he's good, right? He still comes out to these things and shows up and makes sure that like he proves his worth. So that kind of lends to this whole, not everybody can just be like, I vouch for this guy, or, hey, I got this kid, or I'm really good. It's like, show up and show up. And so every February we have a combine, a national combine, where everybody comes in, they do all those skills. And then Marcelo, Kyle Berry kind of take all the notes together, and we grade everybody, and kind of like, and then there's a tournament at the end, and we just kind of show how those players on the list or on the top of the list are performing in a tournament scene. And then they get an invite back to do a practice in Boston. There is a lot of commitment involved, and rightfully so too, because obviously you have to be able to commit to these things to be able to fly to Paris at the end of the year and compete with your team. And so there's a lot that goes on in it. And so thankful, really grateful for all the parents who support all their kids. It's awesome to see. And it's really cool to see these combines, because you'll see the parents there like fully supported and fully invested in their children and their development. It's awesome. It's really cool to see. And so, yeah, you go through this combine program, you go out and try out, and then you get a call back. It's just like, hey, welcome to Team USA. And then we kind of start the journey, and here we are.
Yeah, it's super cool, because it's also just cool for for everything. The story is cool, the organization is awesome, and it's building players for the future. You know, because I get this question I've gotten this question throughout the years, and people are like, oh, what happens when, you know, the core guys on Dynasty have to retire, you know, and because you guys are, you know, best team ever. And I'm like, well, that will be sad. Well, they'll probably stay in the sport and coach or whatever. But that will be sad to not be able to see them. They've been doing this for a long time. And then what happens is, well, now the next cool story starts. That's how the world works, man. You know, so
yeah.
And when I've just seen this develop throughout the years, and I've been to a combine before, and you know, obviously Marcel is a great friend, and you're a great friend, and you guys have been talking these kids up for years. And then sure enough, some of them end up on, you know, the center court and calling their games, and it's just kind of cool. So it's just it's an awesome thing to be to see you guys involved in, and yeah, man, it just you know, tip of hat and respect. You guys keeping the fires lit over there and making them burn very bright. So before I let you go, I know you got a hard stop here, and you got a lot to do before you get on a plane tomorrow morning or 2 days from now. But let's talk a little bit about the you know, the top teams, and you know, the talent you've seen out there, and who you think has a chance to represent Europe as the champions come World Cup. Obviously, sitting at the top of the heap is Joy Division. With the first and a third. Mm-hmm. Second was Breakout Spa. Breakout Spa has been good for years. Third and a fourth for them at the first two events. And then the Lucky 15s sitting in third with an eighth and a first. Congratulations to the Lucky 15s, by the way, for winning that event on their home soil. That was a pretty cool victory. So the winners so far this year is Joy Division in Portugal, and Lucky 15s again on their home turf, which probably was a really cool celebration night on Sunday night for them.
Cool.
But yeah, just give me your thoughts on who you think we're going to see there. Because we've seen Joy Division and we've seen Lucky 15s. Obviously, the Tauntauns have been, you know, the leading light in Western Europe for years. Now we're currently seeing how good they are, 2 second places in a row. We'll go through a couple of these other teams as well too. But let's talk about those top three right now: Joy Division, Breakout Spa, and Lucky 15s. And just also the as far as the point totals, it's 377 for Joy Division, 334 for Breakout Spa, and Lucky 15s are right behind Breakout Spa, only by 13 points, sitting at 321.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see, because of the disparity there with Joy Division, you know, as long as they make it probably to the semis, they're, you know, and obviously it depends on where everything else kind of unfolds. You know, if they're playing Breakout Spa in the quarters, then that could be for the championship right there, which is likely, you know, Breakout, Luckies, and Joy Division. So I could easily see Joy Division taking it this year again. You know, Breakout Spa they're always in there. I don't think that they'll accept. Again, they won't have Chris Shear and they won't have Kevin coaching them, so I can't imagine them actually accepting. I think they recused themselves of last year's honors of making it in to World Cup. But yeah, I see Joy Division kind of running away with it. From what I hear, they play really well. They've been doing, you know, we're in the group chat, so Harrison's constantly, dude, I did this today. We're rolling, you know, so we get the play-by-play from Harrison Fry at each event, and it sounds like those guys are just crushing.
Yeah, and then number 4 is LTF out of France. And again, with the Tauntauns not
playing, I
saw
them. I'm not familiar with those guys.
It's basically Fabrice Colombo and a bunch of up-and-coming French players. but doing, pretty well this year, 4th and a 5th. It's also interesting too, because then 5th is Manchester Firm. Also, shout out to Firm, because
I was just about to say that, dude.
Yeah, they were not looking that great, to be honest. They had a lot of work to do. And I think they took 20th at the, I'd have to check real quick, but on my notes, they took 20th in 2024 at the last event. 20th is last place. And then this year, they have a 7th and a 6th. So they've gotten a lot better in a year. And I looked at their roster, and it's, they have Hugo or Hege on the squad from the Tauntaun. So that's a force multiplier. But other than that, it's a bunch of upcoming British dudes. So shout out to them, because that's a marked improvement in a year.
No, I just pulled up the rankings, and I saw them on there because I like those guys. I talk to their owner Marky all the time, and so seeing them in 5th place, that's a good one. I don't think they're going to make it to World Cup, but congrats to them so far.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe next year. That is a really, really good improvement to go from last to 5th overall through 2 events. And then in 6th place, Ron Holt Dynamite. Now, interesting, looking at teams that have a chance to win this tournament. So Firm, Manchester Firm, obviously that's Manchester, England. Ron Holt Dynamite is out of Norway. They will be playing in the Nations Cup, but they did take 2nd in Portugal. Any team that makes it to the finals at any event in a year has to be considered a favorite. But then they had a rough one at the British Invitational, taking 13th place. But that's because I remember this is years ago, but I remember when Dynamite showed up, and it was essentially a bunch of like teenagers from Norway, but they were hungry for it. And so it's kind of cool to see them up in the top 10 as well too. And then Rangers Warsaw, team that's been around for a bit, they have Axel playing on the team. And at the last event, they only had 6 guys. So a little bit of a light line for them. Their roster was not up yet on PB leagues. Not sure how hot it's going to be in Paris, but running with 6 dudes is it's a little bare on the roster. So we'll see if they bring little bit more, some more soldiers for this one. And then Paris Camp Carnage is in 8th, and Offenburg coming at you out of Germany, sitting 9th, and then London Attrition in 10th. Again, there's 10 more squads there, but those are the top 10. So yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's probably going to be Joy Division because the breakout spot can't go. Maybe the Lucky 15s will squeak in there. We've seen them over. But it's going to be a fun tournament to watch. Again, this is going down. The Nations Cup will be starting Wednesday, Thursday, and that is the 22nd. And then and again, if you're on the West Coast, you got to add 9 hours. That'll be what time it is in Paris. Then East Coast add 6 hours, and everything will be on MLPBplus.com or on YouTube. And then, but Ryan, you're not playing. You're just playing in the Nations Cup. You're not. Are you coaching or playing in the European Cup?
No, I couldn't really find a team. I didn't look super hard. I asked a couple people, but this is like a multiple back-to-back trips because I go straight to Houston after this for practice, and then I go straight to Dallas. So we got 16-month-old twin boys. We've got a full house. I'm trying to limit my travel as much as possible if I can. So and this is an expensive trip as it is. A big shout out to my guys over at No Hope Photos, Brad and Sean, who sponsored me, and for my logo on my team jersey, they help get my plane ticket to go out there. So I am very, very grateful for their support. Really cool to do that. It's a really cool thing that Team USA allows us to do, is have one sponsor to again help with some expenses, because it is expensive to get out there, and we're fully funded by ourselves. But I just had to get home. I'm flying home on Friday. I think Friday night or Saturday morning. So I'll be home here back in Saturday to be able to spend a couple of days here with the fam, and then I leave again on Wednesday night for Houston. So it's a busy 3 weeks. I'm already in the doghouse right now.
Doghouse Studios, very literal meaning here. Yeah.
Doghouse Studios.
Make sure you guys check out Doghouse Studios Spick and Span show Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Before I let you go here, Ryan, we do have the 4th event going down, Lone Star Open, September 11th through the 14th in Texas. And just wanted to get your quick thoughts on the bracket before I have to let you go so you can spend some precious time with your family. But yeah, so your bracket is just one of your thoughts on the bracket. So it's Dynasty, Damage, Arsenal, Infamous down in tier 4, and then Leverage in tier 5. What do you think, man? Do you think that's bracket of death?
Yeah, man, that could be, looking at it, bracket D looks tough too, right? With Tauntauns, Impact, Shock, and Sea Dogs, and then NYX, the Dark Horse team. But I mean, look, all the brackets are hard right now. Paintball Fit, Hurricanes, Diesel, and X Factor, Legion, Heat, Ironman. But yes, I think we have probably one of the top 2 hardest divisions. Tampa Bay Damage just got Mouse. That's a boost. Arsenal just got Kyle. That's a boost. Infamous is our Achilles heel to a certain extent, and we haven't played Leverage yet. So there's a lot there, a lot to see there. So I'm really eager to see what the field layout's going to be. I'm excited to kind of get back into the grind. I'm excited to go play paintball tomorrow. Matty, I haven't been able to play a lot of paintball. I've been doing a lot of coaching. I've been rehabbing my shoulder. I've got an ankle injury. So I've been really taking it easy, but I played a little bit last weekend, and I'm excited to go out there and play this weekend to get really back in the motion. I got Cherry Baby right here representing the red, white, and blue. Well, just all red. So I got a shiny race car that I'm going to be kicking off tomorrow, tomorrow actually, breaker in tomorrow. So
yeah, well, I'll see you out there tomorrow. We're heading out to Giant San Diego. Tom Martinez doing a lot of hard work.
Grand opening.
It's really going to be a big boost for San Diego tournament paintball. But yeah, man, really looking forward to seeing what Dynasty does at the 4th event. As always, you guys are looking pretty good this year. I kind of crunched a little bit of the numbers as far as your plus minuses and your win-loss record. Sunday, you guys are even at 3-3, but your overall total wins and losses 14-4 with a plus 22 on the points for the year. Bro, that's pretty good, considering you guys were in a rebuild year. So things are looking pretty solid here for San Diego Dynasty for the future. Always it's all hands on deck.
Always
and
in a
start getting those calls in the off season. Yeah, but looking forward to it. And, again.
Sorry.
So go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just rebuild year. But no, it's and also there's big implications on this one because you want to get that bye going into World Cup, right? So this is a big event. Yeah, no, that is definitely true. Yeah, man. So it's going to be a fun couple weeks or month of paintball here. Again, coming up starting Tuesday this week. Tune in. Again, add some hours depending on where you guys are at, but it is definitely worth it. It's very entertaining. I'm going to be sitting there with my popcorn and maybe a frosty IPA, depending on what time it is, to watch the probably not actually, probably be coffee depending on when it is. Watching our first game at yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, so make sure everyone tunes in for the Nations Cup again, going down on Wednesday and Thursday, and then starting Friday, we're going to see who the best European team is for 2025. Well, Ryan, I'll let you go, bud. Thank you so much for sitting in with me. I'll see you tomorrow up at Giant San Diego, and good luck with all the things you got to do to get ready, fly across the pond. Take care, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Matty.